Good afternoon. Plenty of time for scorelines to change. We have reporters at 20 of today's games, and we're on the lookout for the top football stories of the day. Les Ferdinand, Lee Dixon and Garth Crooks are paying close attention to the 4 Barclays Premier League matches underway. 3 key games are already over. Cesc Fabregas scores 1 goal and makes another 2 for Emmanuel Adebayor as Arsenal extend their unbeaten run against Tottenham to 19 games. The Gunners top of the Premier League as things stand for the first time in almost 3 years. Nemanja Vidic rise to the rescue Manchester United. The Serbs' late header earning victory at Everton to lift the defending champions up to 3rd in the table. As things stand, Liverpool are 2nd. Portsmouth's Kanu can't beat goalkeeper Pepe Reina from the penalty spot as the game ends goalless at Fratton Park. And the game's underway. West Ham and Middlesbrough both thought they were finding their feet before today's game at Upton Park. Roger Johnson reporting.
It's West Ham 3, Middlesbrough 0. West Ham have won this in 15 minutes after the restart. The 3rd goal moments ago got the biggest roar. Dean Ashton tapping in for his first goal since the 2006 FA Cup final. Lee Boyer and a Luke Young own goal had given the home side the perfect start to the second half. Borough have twice hit the woodwork. Twice Robert Green has saved excellently. But surely it's too far now for them to come back. West Ham 3, Middlesbrough 0.
Before the match with Reading, past and present Sunderland players and 40,000 fans paid their respects to Ian Porterfield, a member of the 1973 FA Cup winning team who sadly died earlier this week. We'll look back at those scenes later in the programme. Steve Sutton is watching the match in progress.
Yes, Rain, if Porterfield's looking down, then he'll have a big smile on his face because his old club Sunderland lead by 2-0. Kenwyn Jones with a first half strike and Ross Wallace just after the restart in the second has probably got Sunderland the 3 points. In all honesty, it could have been 4 or 5. It's 2. Sunderland lead 2-0.
3 defeats and 5 for Birmingham, 4 defeats and 5 for Bolton going into the game at St Andrews. Dan Walker reporting.
Yes, Ray, the stats tell you it's an important game for both these strugglers. Not much quality on display from either side in this game so far today. The best cross of the first half produced the only goal so far. Olivier Capo poking home past Jussi Jääskeläinen to give Birmingham the lead. It's a feisty second period. Sebastian Larsson nearly made it 2, but Jääskeläinen produced a Hollywood save. And at the other end, Daniel Broughton, a Bolton substitute, has just been thwarted by a wonderful tackle from Stephen Kelly.
Wigan are in search of their 3rd win against Fulham this afternoon, who arrived in Lancashire hoping to avoid a 4th defeat. Damien Johnson will tell us the story of the match so far.
Yes, Wigan trail by 1-0. Fulham, without an away win in the Premier League since last September, took the lead through Clint Dempsey. He sprang the offside trap after combining with Diamanti Camara for his 3rd of the season. That's in the first half. Dempsey could have had a hat-trick in the second. Kirkland saved well when he went through on goal, and the American failed to get a clean connection as he tried to divert Smertin's shot goalwards. Wigan have been poor ever since England hero Emil Heskey limped off in the first half. Fulham lead by 1-0. It should be more.
Aberdeen have pulled a goal back at home to Motherwell. Jamie Smith on 65 minutes. Aberdeen won, Motherwell 2. As far as West Ham are concerned, at half-time it wasn't so straightforward, was it? What's Alan Kirbysley said?
You'd imagine he'd have gone in and said, look at what we've done in our previous few games away from home. Our last game away at Reading. Yes, we've been off for a couple of weeks. People have been on international duty. But the performance we need at home is one that, you know, a winning performance. And in the second half, they've gone out, they've got it at Middlesbrough and got their just rewards. And great for Dean Ashton, who's got back into the side. And he's looking fit, he's looked sharp all game. And he's now got his goal as a reward for that.
Lee, the tributes to Ian Porterfield were incredibly dignified. We'll move to that later. But Sunderland, they won, they drew, then they lost the last 3. Looks like they're going to get points today. Other side of the coin, Reading just seem to be leaking goals for fun.
They do. Well played, Sunderland. They've played well today. They haven't scored, I think, for 4 games or something and let 9 goals in. So goals at home was a key. And Kenwyn Jones has played outstanding today. He's running the line. He's showing pace, he's turning defenders, a real handful. And as you said, on the other side of it, Reading look out of sorts. There's something going on there. I'm not quite sure, put my finger on it, but something seems to be going on at the club where they just can't seem to get to the level that they produced last year.
Garth, what's your reading at the Wigan-Fulham game? Fulham haven't won away from home for over a year, and 2 sides of the coin for Emil Heskey, I guess. Great for England, had to limp off early with an injury.
Chris Hutchins must be thinking to himself, what have I done to deserve this? My centre-forward, my leader of the line, he's had the best 10 days, you know, since he's been at the club, limps off after a few minutes. And with that, Wigan seem to lose a little bit of their way. Fulham come into the game, not very attractive, but very effective. get a good goal, and they look like they're inching towards 3 points.
In League Two, Macclesfield, unbeaten. They've drawn 4 games, but they're unbeaten. A goal behind at home to Wycombe. Scott McLeish on 65 minutes. Montrose 3, East 5-1. Midday kick-off for champions Manchester United at Goodison Park. Jonathan Pearce watched the match.
A very tight, competitive Northwest derby settled by a thumping Nemanja Vidic header 6 minutes from time. The centre-half stole away from Marka Yobo to power in a Nani corner from 6 yards out. He was outstanding throughout, standing up to meet the powerful threat of Yakubu and pace of Johnson in a game that started strongly with Tevez linking well, but lost its way. Johnson had a header cleared off the line by Scholes, who might have been sent off in the first half for 2 bookables, but also should have scored, blazing over from a clever Tevez touch. Everton sub McFadden tested Van der Sar with a late dipper. It would have been an extraordinary end to an extraordinary week for him, but it ended up with an ordinary scoreline. 3 1-0 wins for Manchester United in a row, and if only briefly, top spot. Now, where are the critics from a few weeks ago?
Liverpool took an unbeaten league record to Portsmouth. Tony Gubba was at Fratton Park.
It was tight and competitive at Fratton Park, a game of few clear-cut chances. And Portsmouth's first-half penalty miss, Carno's spot kick saved by Rayner, perhaps wasting a chance for Pompey to beat the Premiership leaders. Torres and Gerrard were kept back as substitutes, but then sent on late to try and win the game, but they couldn't get the breakthrough. Voronin hit a crossbar and then just failed to meet a Torres cross. Liverpool are still unbeaten, but 0-0 was clearly a disappointment to them.
Celtic going top of the table in Scotland. Rangers lost their unbeaten record at lunchtime. And at White Hart Lane, Ivan Gaskell watched a North London derby.
Spurs 1, Arsenal 3, a roller coaster of a game, a thrilling ride of twists and turns which left Spurs feeling rather queasy. They'd started so well too. Gareth Bale's curling free kick set Spurs' pulses racing. The tempo was set. Typical derby fare, fast, furious, finely balanced. Robinson saved a string of shots, but crucially failed to stop Adebayor's leveller, or a marvellous Fabregas goal. Adebayor's second added the gloss, a lovely finish, at least for one half of North London. Spurs beaten by the neighbours, 3-1.
Will the Tottenham board keep faith with Martin Garth?
I hope they don't make the decision tonight, because if they do, I think it'll be a knee-jerk reaction. I think they need time to reflect. But Spurs fans are entitled to be depressed. They've lost to their neighbours again. They seem to have a manager under pressure, under siege, and possibly losing confidence by the game, and a team that can't close down a match.
Does Martin Jol get your unanimous, equivocal support?
I need a weekend to reflect.
Do you want to think about that?
I need a weekend to reflect.
Les Ferdinand, what are your views on Martin Jol now, whether he should remain at Tottenham, but also the fact that Tottenham were in the game and let it slip, they threw it away?
Well, I think that's been the biggest problem for Tottenham. I think if you look at last season, they went to Chelsea semi-finals, the FA Cup, 3-1 up, drew the game and lost the replay. They were 2 goals up against Seville in the UEFA Cup. They lost it 2-0. It's the manner in which they take the lead and lose these games. The board have given him £40 million to address this problem. And it's not been addressed.
Ray, I think it's important that whatever the Spurs come to at the end, they look at Martin Jol dead in the eye and say, Martin, you know the ambition of this club. You know we've talked about top 4. Can you do this? And Martin to give Daniel Levy an honest answer.
From the Arsenal perspective, Arsene Wenger has got a new young team that we should start talking about as having sort of Premier League title credentials.
Well, I think so. I saw him midweek and I've never heard him talk about a team with such excitement that he does about this new team he's created. The problems they had in the past was they got bullied away from home. They lost games in the Northwest against Bolton and the teams like Everton because they were bullied out of things. This team looks like it can stand up for himself a little bit more now. We've seen, Tottenham played well at times. They were under the cosh Arsenal, but they had that little bit of belief, that extra belief that they knew that they've got from the dressing room. With Thierry leaving, they've gelled together in that dressing room unbelievably well. And I think you're seeing the benefits of that on the pitch, even when they go a goal down.
Can someone just help me with something? You have a manager £40 million, and after 2 or 3 weeks you say, we're not sure we want to stay with you. Something's happened. Something's fractured the relationship. What's changed?
The game's all about confidence, Ray. Confidence. And that confidence can eke away as quickly as it comes. You've got to sometimes, when you've got it, keep it. At the moment, Spurs are losing confidence.
What's changed, Ray, is the fact that they went to Seville and spoke to supposedly Seville's manager.
What I'm saying, Les, something happened behind the scenes to push Tottenham into a position where they felt they needed to go to Seville.
Well, the fact is, like I said, it's the man that they've given 40 million and they've not gone on to where the Tottenham board expect them to start winning games straight away. They lost at Sunderland in the first game of the season. It's just Tottenham board are looking at them saying, well, hang on, look, what's going on?
To Scotland now, Rangers took their 100% league record to Edinburgh for an away game at Hearts. Andy Gillis reporting.
An extraordinary game, an extraordinary result. Rangers had arrived at Tynecastle with a 100% record, with Walter Smith choosing to omit Lee McCulloch and name Barry Ferguson only as a substitute after their midweek heroics for Scotland. Hearts, though, were much quicker onto their game and were 2 up within 26 minutes. First Driver and then Towell shot home from the edge of the area, both with the aid of deflections. Ferguson was called into action at half-time to immediate effect. Nielsen tripped the Rangers captain and Kusan converted the penalty. Hearts, though, responded with a penalty of their own from Stewart, given for a rash challenge by Hutton, and then an Ivaskevicius shot, which slipped under McGregor in the Rangers' goal. DeMarcus Beasley did pull one back, but this was comprehensively Hearts' day.
Celtic are comprehensively going top of the table. Let's hear about their response. They're at home to Inverness, who arrived with a played 5, lost 5 league record. Ian Turner's at Celtic Park.
And 5 seems to be the number. Celtic 5, Inverness 0 at the moment. Celtic going to the top of the SPL without a doubt. They led 2-0 at half-time. Goals from Venegoor of Hesselink and Donati. Nakamura scored a stunning third, and Venegoor of Hesselink has since headed a fourth. Phil Maguire's put past his keeper for number 5. Celtic in full flow. Inverness will remain pointless.
News now in the game between Falkirk and unbeaten Hibs from Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, terrific game here, Ray. It's Falkirk 1, Hibs 1. Hibs a goal up after just 4 minutes. Donaldson scoring from the penalty spot, but Falkirk equalising less than a minute into the second half. Portuguese striker Pedro Moutinho with a neat finish from 6 yards out. Both sides down to 10 men. Hibs scorer Donaldson and Falkirk defender Darren Barr both shown red cards after a string of yellows had been shown by referee Willie Collum. 14 minutes left for play here at the new Falkirk Stadium. Falkirk 1, Hibs 1.
No change in the Barclays Premier League matches still being played. In the Coca-Cola Championship, early season leaders Coventry playing promoted Bristol City, who kicked off in 3rd place. Both are out with unbeaten league records. Steve May reporting.
Well, not for much longer, Ray, because Bristol City have just scored their 2nd goal. I think Bradley Orr seems to be the man that's claiming it, but it was a bit of a scramble out there. Bristol City before that led through a rather bizarre Michael McIndoe goal, scored from close range when Coventry's big central defender Elliot Ward's feet got tangled up with the ball, and McIndoe did the rest. Good defending from City since, particularly Fontaine, who's had to counter the Coventry battleship that is Dele Adebola. It's Coventry 0, Bristol City 2.
Promoted Bristol City going top of the Championship. Early days, but it was second bottom versus bottom when Preston and Sheffield Wednesday kicked off. Preston drawn 1, lost 3. Wednesday had lost all 4 league games played. Andrew James reporting.
Right, Preston 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. It's a much improved second half display from Wednesday, but Preston still lead through that first half tap-in by Paul Gallagher on loan from Blackburn Rovers. The Dutchman Etienne Assayas on his debut hit the post with Wednesday's best chance so far, but despite 6 team changes today, they're on course for a 5th successive league defeat.
New boss Gary Megson picked the Leicester City side for today's game with Queen's Park Rangers. Rangers arrived with 1 point from 3 games. Mark Webber reporting.
Leicester 1, QPR 0. Gary Megson took to the mic before the game to silence the home fans, doubtful about hiring an ex-Forest boss. But after a first period of not seeing the wood for the trees, his team finally provided the much-promised backing track when Ian Hume tapped in from the penalty spot. Before then, the Foxes had been sniffing around QPR's goal like they were looking for scraps in bins. QPR, after a slow start, dangerous in periods, but Megson's men are calling the tune. Leicester 1, QPR 0.
Let's go back to the Barclays Premier League. Wigan against Fulham. Developments, Damien Johnson.
There are developments here, Ray, because Wigan have a penalty. Mario Melchiot pulled down in the area, adjudged Mr. Stiles, the referee. And against the run of play, it has to be said, Wigan have a chance to salvage this game. I'm not going to... well, I'll tell you, it's Jason Kumas, in actual fact, who's going to put the ball on the spot, if you want to stay with me for this penalty. Fulham have not won an away game in the Premier League since last September the 9th, 2006. They were on course for victory here, but a penalty chance now for Jason Kumas. He's down in the area, just lacing up his right-hand boot, his white boot. He's placing the ball on the spot now. This would be, well, it would be a gift really for Wigan. I'm not sure they really deserve to be back in this game. They could be 3-0 down in the second half, but here they have a chance through Kumas. He steps up and he scored. Antiniemi sent the wrong way. Kumas has equalised for Wigan, and Fulham crestfallen, 1-1.
So 1-1. Wigan deserve to get back in the match, do you feel, Garth?
Well, I think Damien's hit the nail on the head. I think that Wigan will see themselves as being very, very fortunate. Fulham have actually gone ahead, and justifiably so. Not pretty, but very effective. And now Wigan are back in it. Rather fortunate, I must say.
Home form, really, for Wigan so far this season. And I mentioned these are games that they think you need to get something out of it because it's going to be a long winter and every point's precious.
Imperative. Your home form is imperative, and they've done well at home so far. And this, they need a point. You come up against teams like Fulham. These are the teams you look at, and you need to take a point, if not 3 at home.
Goals conceded was in double figures for Barnsley when they kicked off 4th bottom in a home game in the Championship with 4th top Scunthorpe. Alan Biggs is at Oakwell.
Yeah, but it's Barnsley 2, Scunthorpe 0, which is a baffling scoreline and certainly 2 baffling goals, especially the first, a freak deflection off Andy Crosby's attempted clearance that allowed Jamal Campbell-Rice to celebrate his Barnsley debut with the weirdest possible goal. He knew nothing about it. The ball just looped off him over the keeper, and there was something slightly similar for the second. Again, Crosby with an attempted clearance, this time charged down by Kayode Odijayi just inside his own half, and the big striker galloped clear to bury the ball. Barnsley a bit fortunate, but they lead 2-0.
So the Hawthorns now. Steve Lee reports on the West Bromwich Albion Ipswich match.
Yes, it's West Brom 1, Ipswich 0, but West Brom hanging by their fingertips of this game. They took the lead through Ishmael Miller in the first half, the on-loan striker from Manchester City. A lovely goal too. But the second half's been a litany of Ipswich chances, culminating in Alan Lee's header hitting a post. Albion have been frantically hanging on, but it's West Brom 1, Ipswich 0.
Sheffield United and Wolves will both expect to feature in the promotion race. 1 win for 4 wasn't the start of the season the Blades would have hoped for ahead of this game. Mark Bishop's at Bramall Lane.
It's Sheffield United 1, Wolves 1. Darren Ward has just put a header firmly against the crossbar, only to see then Naismith kick the rebound off the line. 8 years, remember, since Wolves won in the league at Bramall Lane. Good finish from Elliott in the first half. United right back in it. BT's 3rd goal in 5 league matches. 1 apiece at Bramall Lane.
Just confirm, 1 apiece at Bramall Lane. Home defeat last time out, unusual for Colchester. Very strong at home last season. Their opponents today are Charlton, so it wasn't too far for Addicks fans to travel. Carrie Davis included.
It's Colchester 2, Charlton 2. Charlton looking to get that winner now with Colchester down to 10 men. They had Matt Connolly sent off in the 54th minute because he brought down former Colchester striker Chris Iluemo with just the keeper to beat, so the referee had no choice there really. The fans weren't too happy about it. Zihi Zayn got doubled his tally for the season to get that equaliser 2-2. Charlton looking to steal all those 3 points now with around 7 minutes plus injury time to go.
And news now on the Lancashire derby between Burnley and Blackpool from Richard Askham.
1 apiece. Ray Blackpool have equalised from the penalty spot. Wes Houlihan converting after Andy Morrell was brought down by Clark Carlisle. It's tough on Burnley, who since taking the lead through a Stephen Craney own goal have dominated the match, but Blackpool have stuck to their task and are back in it 1-1.
Hull are hoping this season doesn't see a 3rd successive scrap to avoid relegation. They're at home to Stoke, watched by Harry Gratian.
Well, they've certainly spent some money, Ray, but you just get the feeling it's a season of Championship survival again. Plenty of chances for them, but Stoke took their goal 2 minutes from half-time, Rory Dillap scoring. JJ Okocha has tried hard for Hull. He's just come on about 15 minutes ago. One shot, a trademark example. With 11 minutes left, it's 0-1.
Norwich and Crystal Palace both had 4 points from 4 games when they ran out for this afternoon's game at Carrow Road. Unsatisfactory start to the season for both clubs. Dominic Cotton reporting.
It's Norwich 1, Palace 0 here. A tepid affair looked to be heading towards a goalless draw, but in the 75th minute, Norwich won a corner which Dion Dublin got to. His first header was directed in with power by substitute David Strahafka. Palace have 5 minutes plus injury time in which to get an equaliser.
3 defeats on the run won't be good for Crystal Palace. In League One, last night's results saw Tranmere Rovers go top of the table. It's the result of Yeovil versus Orient, 2nd against 4th. They will decide who's top come 5 o'clock. Hamish Marshall reporting.
Well, it's Yeovil 0, Leyton Orient 1. When we started, either side could have gone top, but Orient are on course to reclaim that top spot. The lead through Adam Boyd's low shot for his 5th goal of the season. That was bad enough for Yeovil, who'd just been having their best spell of the match, but keeper Steve Mildenhall was injured trying to stop it. He's been stretchered off. Yeovil don't have a sub-keeper, so central defender Terry Skiverton has donned the gloves. It's Yeovil 0, Leyton Orient 1.
It's like Orient going top of League One. League Two, Shrewsbury have started the season well and they have a new stadium. Ian Winter is the first final score reporter to visit the new Meadow. Accrington Stanley, today's visitors.
Ray at Shrewsbury Town 2, Accrington Stanley 0. Both goals coming early in each half. After 3 minutes, Stuart Nicholson from close range after a goalkeeping mistake. And then 5 minutes after the penalty from Dave Hibbert, his 5th goal of the season. Stanley have played most of the second half with only 10 men, and Shrewsbury will stay in the top 3 as they go towards maintaining their 100% home record here at New Meadow.
Chesterfield and Darlington look like they're staying unbeaten. To Bramall Lane, developments, Mark Bishop.
One apiece, Ray, and James Beattie is about to take a penalty kick. He was manhandled in the box by Gary Breen, so Beattie has already scored. It's one apiece, remember, at Bramall Lane. He scored in the second half. Can he make this 4 goals in 5 league matches? The ball is on the spot. Beattie taking a hard look at the ball, takes 4 steps back. Bramall Lane crowd about to see another comeback perhaps. Beattie is that right-footed and way past Hennessy into the back of the net. It's a comeback for Sheffield United. They lead 2-1.
All points at home so far this season. That would be an important 3 points for Sheffield United. Burnley Blackpool. Let's get the latest there from Richard Askham.
Yes, Ray, Burnley have just taken the lead through Adi Akinbaye. Close range, turn and shot into the bottom corner. The goalkeeper no chance, and he has probably won the game for a jubilant Burnley side.
Great start to the season for Burnley. Birmingham against Bolton. Dan Walker.
It's getting far more stretched now here, Ray, at St Andrews. Few jingling, jangling nerves for Birmingham. Understandable, they haven't yet won at home this season. Bolton have lost J. Lloyd Samuel. Looked like a twanged hamstring for him, and Birmingham should have made it 2 on 2 occasions. Sebastian Larsson's had a free kick come off the underside of the bar, and a Juru header was cleared off the line wonderfully by Gavin McCann. We're in for an exciting last few minutes here, Ray.
Bolton have lost 4 of 5. This is a very important sort of 10 minutes for Sammy Lee and Bolton Wanderers.
Yeah, crisis time for, Sammy's gone in. He's, he was number 2 to Sam. He's changed everything that they've done there, changed the system that they played, changed a lot of personnel. And at this moment in time, he's not getting the results. If you go in as a manager and you change things around and you start getting results, players adapt to that, especially the players that are left over. He's not done that at this moment, and they're really struggling.
Wigan against Fulham, Damien Johnson.
4 minutes remaining. There's a spring in Wigan's step all of a sudden after that equaliser from Jason Kumas, a penalty after there was a decision the referee had to make on Mario Melchiot, who went down in the area. But as I say, there's a spring in their step now. They're pressing for a winner. Changes made by both sides. Danny Murphy and Seol Ki-hyun are on for Fulham. Agahawa for Wigan as they go for a winner. It's still 1-1 here.
News of a goal at Sunderland. Sunderland against Reading. Steve Sutton, has it been given?
Yes, it has, Ray. There was a little bit of doubt there. The Sunderland players stood still waiting for a decision from the referee, but it looks as if it was a glancing header from Andre Baiki. But will it be a consolation for Reading? Because Sunderland have really had the lid on this second half. But an interesting last few minutes. It was Dave Kitson confirmation there. Dave Kitson with a glancing header. It's Sunderland 2, Reading 1.
Well, this could really change things around. Will Reading come back and sneak something here, do you think?
Well, I think if they do, it'll be against the run of play. I've been quite impressed with Sunderland, and Kenwyn Jones up front has been outstanding up front. He's run the line, as I said before. He's come short, he's spun in the hole, he's caused problems for the defenders, and he looks a real handful. And he's a fit lad, and if he can keep that up, he's going to be a really good signing. Yeah.
Still time for scorelines to change. Points can be lost, they can be salvaged. West Ham against Middlesbrough. Roger Johnson.
It's still West Ham 3, Middlesbrough 0, although Carlton Cole has just missed an open goal for West Ham as they counter-attack swiftly. Middlesbrough have been asking all the questions in the past few minutes, but Robert Green has been more than equal to anything that they've been able to throw at them. Dean Ashton, who scored the third, has been substituted for Freddie Ljungberg, and West Ham home and dry here with 3 minutes to play. They lead 3-0.
Let's just quickly hear from one of Arsenal stars, Cesc Fabregas, on the back of a North London derby victory at White Hart Lane.
Cesc, first of all, victory over the neighbours. Again, how did it feel?
Well, I think it's just one more game and we are in a good run at the moment and we have to keep going. It was an important win, especially because Liverpool had the draw as well. Now we are at the top with one less game, so we hope we can continue with this run.
Had Spurs scored a second, it could have been very different, of course. They had their chances.
Yeah, they had their chances, with Berbatov, but Gael was great defending because he was at the post and he came into the middle, so that was very intelligent from him. And after we took our chances and fortunately for us, we won the game.
It was a marvellous game to watch from a neutral's point of view, and wonderful to play in, I'd imagine, particularly when you score such a great goal.
Well, apart from the goal, I think was a great game to be a fan. For Spurs and for Arsenal fans, I think we played a great game, great football, and you know, even if you lose, you win. Of course, you like to win in these kind of games, but as a fan, I think you must have enjoyed it.
And here you are back on top.
Yeah, it's good sign, you know. The last 2 seasons we didn't start very well, and after, you know, at the end it was very difficult to come back because the top teams never lost points. So it will be very important for us to keep going.
Walsall looking for their first win of the season. They've conceded an equaliser at Millwall to Andy Frampton. 7 minutes to go. Millwall 1 or Walsall 1. Very Printer confirming there's a goal at the Hawthorn. Steve Lee.
Yes, it's now West Brom 2, Ipswich 0. Can't football be cruel sometimes? Ipswich have dominated the second half, hit the post, but it's Albion have got the second. A wonderful crossfield ball from Paul Robinson. Felipe Teixeira, their Portuguese midfielder, finished brilliantly. 2-0 to the Albion.
Won both the home games so far, third home win, lost both their away games, but West Bromwich Albion getting 3 points this afternoon. 2 unbeaten teams in the Championship, Coventry and Bristol City. Steve May reporting.
Well, 3 minutes left here, Ray, and Bristol City still leading here by 2-0. They look to be going top tonight. Luck very much shining on them, and their 3,500 supporters from the West Country here. Michael McIndoe's opener, courtesy of an Elliott Ward faux pas, and their second, I think what may go down as a goalkeeping own goal from Dimi Konstantopoulos, though City's Bradley Orr, I think, will claim that he had a part in things. Either way, it's Coventry 0, Bristol City 2.
Blackpool have equalised. Good start of the season from Roted Blackpool. Andrew Morrell on 90 minutes has equalised. Equaliser 2 for Hull City. Harry Grayson reporting.
What a time to score as well. 3 minutes from the end. David Livermore scoring. Have to say, JJ Okocha came on after the break, and he's really inspired this Hull City side. But that was a good goal from Livermore, and perhaps what Hull City deserved. 1-0.
Walsall might get their first win of the season. They've taken a 2-1 lead now away at Millwall. Elgin 3, Albion 2. Elgin lost all 5 games so far this season. Come back for their first win so far. They conceded 14 goals. Back to the Hawthorn, Steve Lee.
Amazing stuff here. It's now West Brom 3, Ipswich 0, and Kevin Phillips has rounded it off with his first goal of the game. How cruel can it be? Ipswich with all the chances in the second half, and Albion have scored twice in 2 minutes through Teixeira and now Phillips. 3-0 to West Brom. That is a flattering scoreline.
Blackpool have only lost 1 in 16 games in all competitions. Richard Ascombe's watching their match away at Burnley.
They've equalised again, Ray, as you said, 2-2. What a game this is. Andy Morrell has equalised for Blackpool. It came after a scramble in the box. Brian Jensen in the Burnley goal spilled across. He then tried to recover, couldn't, and Morrell was on hand to turn it home. 2 apiece.
4th consecutive defeat for Bury, losing at home to Chester by 2-0. Arbroath have won 3-1 away at Forfar. Dunfermline have drawn 1-1 away at Dundee. Norwich have beaten Crystal Palace. 3 defeats on the bounce now for Crystal Palace. Unbeaten Darlington in League 2 maintain their unbeaten record, beating Lincoln City. Celtic against Inverness. Ian Turner, Celtic top of the table.
Yes, reigning champion Celtic cruised to the top of the table after absorbing early pressure from Thistle before turning on the style to tear them apart and score 5 for the 3rd SPL match in a row. Venegoor of Hesselink and Donati had Gordon Strachan side 2 up by half-time. Nakamura scored a scorching 3rd before Venegoor of Hesselink headed home his 2nd, and Phil Maguire completed the rout by putting the ball past his own keeper. The champions take over from Rangers at the top. Celtic 5, Inverness 0.
New boss for Leicester City, Gary Megson, as he started off with a victory. Mark Webber.
He hasn't. Leicester 1, QPR 1. Super finish by the Super Hoops. Nigel Wood sent a screamer which parted the Leicester defence like a fully qualified cloth ripper would. It inspired them to pepper Leicester in the past few minutes, with at least 2 occasions where QPR could have taken the lead and spoiled Megson's managerial debut. As it was 1-1. Boos at the start from Leicester fans, boos at the end from Leicester fans. 1-1.
Wigan against Fulham, final whistle has gone. Damien Johnson, watch the match.
Yes, Wigan 1, Fulham 1, Ray. Fulham came within 10 minutes of securing an away win in the Premier League for the first time in a year. They deservedly went ahead in the first half. Clint Dempsey sprang the offside trap to slot his third of the season. Wigan barely mustered a meaningful effort on goal after England's returning hero Emil Heskey limped off early on. Dempsey could have had a hat-trick. Kirkland saved well when he was through on goal, and the American deflected Smertin's shot wide. Wigan got lucky when Mario Melchiot was barged over in the area, and Jason Kumas stepped up to salvage a point from the spot. They might have scored an unlikely winner when Shana's flick was saved by Niemi at the death. 1-1, Wigan got out of jail.
Back to Scotland, Hibs remain unbeaten. Brian McLaughlin.
It finished Falkirk 1, Hibs 1. Clayton Donaldson's first goal for Hibs from the penalty spot after just 4 minutes, cancelled it a minute into the second half by Falkirk's Portuguese striker Pedro Moutinho. Falkirk though finishing with 9 men after Gregg and Barr saw red. Hibs though, they also had Clayton Donaldson sent off in what was a dramatic 90 minutes here at the new Falkirk Stadium. It finished Falkirk 1, Hibs 1.
Oldham have lost their last 4 games now. Southend winning 1-0 at Boundary Park. Oldham 0, Southend 1. Final whistle at Upton Park. Roger Johnson, how did the West Ham Middlesbrough match finish off?
It finished West Ham 3, Middlesbrough 0. Dean Ashton's first goal in more than a year added the gloss to this win, which West Ham wrapped up in 15 second half minutes. Ashton's far post tap in after missing all last season through injury followed an unstoppable Lee Bowyer volley and an unlucky Luke Young own goal. West Ham deserved it. Bowyer almost made it 4 in stoppage time, although the margin is probably slightly flattering. Twice Borough hit the woodwork, while Tunji was thrice thwarted by Robert Green. The Hammers' first home win of the season. They've beaten Middlesbrough 3-0.
Another goal of the Hawthorns, as the video printer confirms. Kevin Phillips in the final minute. West Brom 4, Ipswich 0. Steve Lee.
Yeah, an amazing scenes here at West Brom. It's now 4-0 and the boing boing sounding out all over the place. We've had 3 goals in 3.5 minutes. There's the final whistle. Kevin Phillips has got 2, Teixeira 1, Ishmael Miller the other. 4-0 to Albion, but amazing really because Ipswich have dominated this second half. It's 4-0 West Brom.
An emotional day at the Stadium of Light. Final whistle has sounded. Sunderland against Reading. Steve Sutton.
It's ended Sunderland 2, Reading 1. A Dave Kitson goal on 85 minutes ensured a nervous remaining few minutes for the Sunderland fans, but they have got 3 very valuable points. Kenwyn Jones on 28 minutes with the first goal. Ross Wallace with the second just after the restart. Jones, the real hero of the day. He could have had a hat-trick. He might look back and think that he really should have had. Sunderland get the points. More worries for Reading's Steve Coppell. They said goodbye today to a former hero, Ian Porterfield, and they said hello perhaps to Kenwyn Jones, a new hero.
And more on the tributes to Ian Porterfield later in the programme. Bolton Wanderers are in quite a degree of trouble. They've lost their 5th game in 6 matches. Dan Walker.
It was a typical game between 2 teams desperate for points at the wrong end of the table. A rare moment of quality provided the only goal as Olivier Capot extended his go-go gadget leg to prod home Sebastian Larsson's cross in the first half. Larsson hit the bar, Giroud had a header clear off the line, but Birmingham's best work was done at the other end, keeping Nicholas Anelka quiet for the entire match. Substitute Daniel Bratton failed to convert Bolton's best chance, and Birmingham held on for a first home win of the season for Steve Bruce. As you mentioned, Ray, now 5 defeats out of 6 for Sammy Lee's troubled Bolton.
Yeah, to Bramall Lane, Sheffield United against Wolves. Both these teams will expect to feature in the promotion race. Mark Bishop.
Fantastic finish to a great game. Sheffield United 3, Wolves 1. John Stead icing on the cake, a 1-on-1, belting the ball past Hennessy in stoppage time. A brace from BT, 4 goals in 5 matches now, and all this after Elliott had put Wolves ahead. Great win for Sheffield United. They win by 3 goals to 1.
The Sheffield club, Sheffield Wednesday, have had an awful start to the season. Andrew James.
Well, whichever manager lost this game was bound to find themselves under intensified pressure, and so a first-half tap-in from Preston's on-loan striker Paul Gallagher leaves Sheffield Wednesday's Brian Laws fearing for his Hillsborough future after 5 straight league defeats. Wednesday's best chance fell to the Flying Dutchman Etienne Assayas, but he hit the post, leaving Preston worthy winners after a more enterprising first-half display.
Story of the Barnsley-Scunthorpe game in the Championship from Alan Biggs.
It's finished Barnsley 2, Scunthorpe 0. Only Scunthorpe's 2nd defeat in the Championship. They haven't done much wrong today, but they haven't done too much right either. Barnsley made the most of the breaks with goals from Jamal Campbell-Rice and Kayode Odejayi, both with their first for the club. 2-0 Barnsley.
Shrewsbury, Accrington, Stanley in Winter watching a League Two match at the New Meadow.
Ray has finished Shrewsbury Town 2, Accrington Stanley 0. 3 home games played. Points in the bag. Shrewsbury have clearly taken quite a liking to their new stadium. Stuart Nicholson and Dave Hibbert scored early in each half. 3 more points for Shrewsbury Town. 2-0 they've won here.
And what a result at the Ricoh Arena. Coventry against Bristol City. Steve May.
And we're still going on, Ray. It's now Coventry 0, Bristol City 3. A solo goal from Darren Byfield, who's making his debut out there. He's just become on as substitute. He's got the 3rd goal, and Bristol City are going top.
Coventry's unbeaten record comes crashing down this afternoon. Yeovil against Leyton Orient in League One. Hamish Marshall.
Well, we're in the final minute of 6 of stoppage time, and it looks as if Leyton Orient are going to be back top of the league. And if they leave here with a win, they will be more than satisfied. They haven't created many clear-cut chances, but Adam Boyd took his one opportunity to look like securing the points. Indeed, it has, as the final whistle goes. Yeovil had 3 good chances early in the second half. They didn't take them and paid the penalty. Yeovil 0, Leyton Orient 1.
Final whistle, Colchester against Charlton Athletic. Carrie Davis.
It finished Colchester 2, Charlton 2, but definitely 2 points lost for Geraint Williams as Charlton, because they had been 2-0 up in the first half through a low right footer from Mark Yates and a Kevin Lisby header against an old club. Svetoslav Todorov pulled one back on the stroke of half-time, and Pardew brought on Andy Reid for immediate effect in the second half. He put through former Colchester striker Chris Iwalumu, and he was brought down by Matt Connolly with only the keeper to beat. So Connolly was sent off. He then doubled his tally picked out by Mills, and he struck a lovely turn and shot on around the 70th minute. All 3 subs used by Alan Pardew as they tried to get the winner. Colchester never gave up though, but in the end it ended 2-2.
All the results are just about in. Time for Tim Gudgin to confirm today's final scores.
Well, good things are worth waiting for. The Barclays Premier League, Birmingham City 1, Bolton Wanderers 0. Chelsea and Blackburn Rovers have an evening kick-off. Everton 0, Manchester United 1. Portsmouth 0, Liverpool 0. Sunderland 2, Reading 1. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Arsenal 3. West Ham United 3, Middlesbrough 0. Wigan Athletic 1, Fulham 1. The Coca-Cola Championship, Barnsley 2, Scunthorpe United 0. Burnley 2, Blackpool 2. Colchester United 2, Charlton Athletic 2. Coventry City 0, Bristol City 3. Hull City 1, Stoke City 1. Leicester City 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Norwich City 1, Crystal Palace 0. Plymouth Argyle and Cardiff City, evening kick-off. Preston North End 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Sheffield United 3, Wolverhampton Town 1. West Bromwich Albion 4, Ipswich Town 0. Coca-Cola League 1, Bournemouth 1, Northampton Town 1. Gillingham 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Hartlepool United 1, Swindon Town 1. Huddersfield Town 2, Cheltenham Town 3. Millwall 1, Walsall 2. Oldham Athletic 0, Southend United 1. Port Vale 0, Nottingham Forest 2. Yeovil Town 0, Leyton Orient 1. League 2, Barnet 0, Rochdale 0. Bradford City 1, Peterborough United 0. Brentford 0, Milton Keynes Dons 2 is a late score. Bury 0, Chester City 2. Darlington 2, Lincoln City 0. Grimsby Town 1, Stockport County 1. Macclesfield Town 1, Wycombe Wanderers 2. Mansfield Town 1, Chesterfield 3. Morecambe 0, Hereford United 3. Notts County 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 0. Shrewsbury Town 2, Accrington Stanley 0. Wrexham 0, Rotherham United 1. The Blue Square Premier, Cambridge United 2, Crawley Town 1. Droylsden 1, Weymouth 3. Ebbsfleet United 4, Kidderminster Harriers 3, that's the latest score. Farsley Celtic 0, Exeter City 2. Northwich Victoria 1, Histon 3. Oxford United 2, Aldershot Town 3. Rushton and Diamonds 0, Burton Albion 0. Stafford Rangers 0, Grays Athletic 2. Woking 2, Altrincham 0. York City 0, Stevenage Borough 2. The Clydesdale Scottish Premier League, Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 2. Celtic 5, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0. Falkirk 1, Hibernian 1. Gretna 1, Kilmarnock 2. Hearts 4, Rangers 2. The Ernbrew Scottish Division 1, Dundee 1, Dunfermline Athletic 1. Hamilton Academicals 4, Stirling Albion 0. Livingston 4, Morton 0. Queen of the South 1, Clyde 1. St Johnstone 2, Partick Thistle 1. Scottish 2, Airdrie United 1, Peterhead 1. Alloa Athletic 2, Queen's Park 0. Berwick Rangers 3, Brechin City 3. Gowdenbeath 1, Ayr United 1. Wraith Rovers 0, Ross County 2. Scottish Division 3, Dumbarton 1, Stenhousemuir 2. East Stirling 2, Stranraer 3. Elgin City 3, Albion Rovers 2. Forfar Athletic 1, Arbroath 3. Montrose 3, East Fife 1. The Principality Building Society Welsh Premier, Airbus UK 2, Portmarnock 0. Carnarvon 0, Rhyl 1. Haverford West 6, Connors Quay 2. Neath 2, Llangefni Town 0. Newtown 0, Carmarthen 1. The New Saints FC 2, Port Talbot 1. Welshpool Town 2, Bangor City 0.
A couple of late kickoffs in Coca-Cola League 2. Brentford 0, Milton Keynes Dons 3. And in the Blue Square Premier League, it's Ebbsfleet United 4, Kidderminster Harriers 3, still playing in that match. Les Ferdinand, Lee Dixon and Garth Crooks watched all today's English Premier League games. We'll hear their opinions on today's performances after we've looked at the updated league tables. And in the Barclays Premier League, Arsenal head the table for the first time since October 2004. Over-and-out leaders Liverpool down to second, level on points now with defending champions Manchester United. West Ham have climbed from the bottom half of the table to fourth, at least for now, following their first home win. Chelsea will draw level with Arsenal at the top if they beat Blackburn in this evening's kick-off. No change in the bottom three. Derby must wait till Monday to play Newcastle, while Bolton and Reading both suffered away defeats to fellow strugglers. Tottenham have slid to fourth bottom after another defeat at the hands of North London rivals Arsenal. In the Coca-Cola Championship, Bristol City are the new leaders, replacing Coventry, who they beat 3-0 today. Dream start for Gary Johnson's side, who were promoted from League One last season. West Brom up to third. They maintain their 100% home record with a 4-0 win over Ipswich. Watford will go top if they beat Southampton at home tomorrow. Charlton climbed to fifth after coming from 2-0 down to salvage a point at Colchester. Sheffield Wednesday suffered a fifth straight defeat, losing 1-0 to fellow strugglers Preston. Still no points for Brian Law's side this season. Queen's Park Rangers, the only other championship side without a win. They came from behind to draw, though, 1-1 at Leicester. Crystal Palace slipped to 21st after a 1-0 defeat at Norwich, their third defeat on the bounce. Coca-Cola League One, Leyton Orient have restored their 3-point advantage after maintaining their 100% away record with victory at Yeovil. Tranmere won against Luton last night. Carlisle lost. Hartlepool, the only other team in the top six to earn a point this weekend. Oldham Athletics' fourth successive defeat means they prop up the division this evening. Leeds, of course, won their sixth successive match last night, the only perfect record in the English leagues. Millwall suffered a fourth straight defeat, while Doncaster play tomorrow. Nottingham Forest and Walsall earned their first victories of the season. In League Two, Darlington remain the leaders after a 2-0 win over Lincoln. Chesterfield were top briefly after winning their lunchtime game away at Mansfield. That's 4 straight wins for Lee Richardson's side. Shrewsbury stay third after their 2-0 win over Accrington Stanley at the New Meadow. Chester climb a place to fourth. They won 2-0 at Bury. That result has left Bury second from bottom. Only Wrexham are below them. Wrexham suffered their third straight defeat, beaten 1-0 at home by Rotherham. Blue Square Premier League, Stevenage lead following victory at York. The result lifts them back above Torquay, who took top spot after beating Halifax last night. Aldershot also go above Torquay, having beaten Oxford. Bleak picture already for the bottom 5, who all lost today. 4 of them at home. Northwich, Stafford Rangers, Droylsden and Altrincham remain winless. And in the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Celtic have replaced Rangers at the top. Celtic thumped Inverness 5-0, while Rangers saw their 100% start of the season end at Hearts. They lost 4-2. Third place Hibs drew 1-1 at Falkirk. At the other end, it was an afternoon to forget for the bottom 2. Inverness had their heavy defeat at Celtic, while Gretna lost 2-1 to Kilmarnock at Fir Park. Lots of post-match reaction to come in the light of today's Barclays Premier League results. Emmanuel Adebayor scores twice as Arsenal extend their unbeaten run against Tottenham to 19 games. The Gunners go top of the Premier League for the first time in almost 3 years. And Vidic rises to rescue Manchester United. The Serbs' late header earning victory at Everton to lift the defending champions to 3rd in the table. Liverpool are 2nd. Portsmouth's Carno couldn't beat goalkeeper Pepe Reina from the penalty spot as the game ended goalless at Fratton Park. Dean Ashton's first goal since the 2006 FA Cup final caps the most emphatic win of the day. For West Ham, they go 4th. Capo fits for Birmingham. The French midfielder gives the Premier League newcomers their first home win of the season. 5th defeat out of 6 for Bolton. Sunderland return to winning ways with victory over Reading. Kenwyn Jones scores his first goal since his £6 million move from Southampton. And the late Jason Kumas penalty earns Wigan a point after Clint Dempsey's 3rd goal of the season, giving visitors Fulham the lead. And tonight's match of the day will feature all the goals, all the saves and all the major incidents from those games and the Chelsea-Blackburn game. That's still to be played. It's a 10:30 start here on BBC One. Well, it's not been a great day for Spurs. Beaten 3-1 at White Hart Lane by Arsenal. It's a long, long time since Tottenham got the better of the Gunners. Here's post-match reaction from the lane.
Well, I'm very pleased with our different aspects in the game. We were always playing, you know, both teams played very well in fairness. And we were unlucky to be down maybe at half-time, but we kept going and we missed a few chances, but we took the difficult ones. And overall, in the end, the fact that we have that mental strength and that togetherness pushed us through, but it needed something special because Tottenham played well as well.
Yeah, I felt that after, before, even after 50 minutes, we should have killed them off with the chances, Tom Huddlestone and especially Dimitar Berbatov. And you know that a team like Arsenal is never out of it. And they are a very good footballing team, so the only thing you have to do is take your opportunities. And that was the difference today.
And here you are back on top.
Yeah, it's good sign, The last 2 seasons we didn't start very well, and after, at the end it was very difficult to come back because the top teams never lost points. So it will be very important for us to keep going.
There's all this talk about your manager having an effect on the players. How is that affecting you?
I think it's pretty ridiculous to talk really what Manuel's achieved at this club, and I think it's sort of sprung us together closer, and I think the team will just we can really kick on now, and just hopefully we can just get that one result, and hopefully we can just start from here.
Tottenham lost 4 of 6. They threw it away, Les, didn't they?
Yeah, you feel for Manuel because Tottenham did have chances to win the game. They went 1-0 up, great goal from Bale, and then they had chances after that. But I think it's the manner in which they keep losing these games that will concern the board. And Cesc Fabregas hit the nail on the head there when he said the top teams don't give points away. So if you've got aspirations of getting into that top 4, you needed to start the season well, and Tottenham just haven't done that.
How do you think the Tottenham board will react? How do you think Tottenham fans will react?
Emotionally, and that's understandable. I think the Tottenham board will discuss things tonight about the manner in which they lost, as Les has said, but I think it's important that no decision is made until the early part of next week. They've got a European Cup tie on Thursday. They've got a league game against Bolton and a away game against Middlesbrough coming up. I think the important thing is to sit with Martin and have an honest chat about whether or not he can do the job that the board, have set him out to do.
Some people would say giving a manager £40 million and then considering parting company with him sort of 5 or 6 games into the season is lunacy.
Well, I think so myself, you know, but that's the way the game has gone. You know, the pressure on these managers is intense. These owners of these clubs want success and they want it now, and if you give somebody 40 million, they want instant success, and that's not possible. I still think it's wrong to sack a manager after 6 games.
Arsenal look title contenders. Arsenal starting to look like their squad of young players have real spirit.
Definitely, and the manager is really pleased with this squad of players he's got. They've got a team spirit now that perhaps you don't see in the Tottenham team, although they'll say they have it. But that team spirit is measured when you're up against it and when you get a result out of nothing. And today they could have lost that game. They went on and won it 3-1, and they look a good hope for the championship.
Ray, £40 million, you're entitled to see some improvement.
Not after 6 games. You can't win the league after 6 games.
Not winning the league, you're entitled to see some improvement.
Everton 0, Manchester United 1 at lunchtime. Post-match reaction from Goodison Park.
Are you always confident that you're going to get there, that's going to be your ball?
Not always. I try to find space for myself to take the ball, and I run in the first post and balls come and I just put my head and I score. And I think I have a couple chances in this season, and I think I deserve to score a goal.
They had a lot of possession, but you know, I think we felt a little bit in control of the chances that were coming their way, and we knew it got to the last 10 minutes, we could maybe get up ahead of steam, and you know, suck a blow really. You know, goal from a corner. Corners are something that we work a lot on, and it's disappointing that we concede at a set piece.
I thought our boys done well today. You know, hopefully if we continue to play like that, we'll pick up more wins than losses. That's for sure. But they did. The 2 centre forwards caused them problems. But I also thought that their 2 central defenders played very well today as well. Manchester United's.
What news of Wayne Rooney?
Well, positive. We're very positive, and I hope it is that will be okay to play next game. We still have more 4 days until Sporting game, so everything in this moment tell us that Wayne will be back to the team against Sporting.
1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Are you concerned about the lack of goals?
No, we're concerned in this moment. In this point, what is important is to collect points and be in the right position when really the final sprint starts in the championship race, and this is what we've been doing.
3 wins on the bounce for Manchester United. What are your observations of the champions so far this season?
Well, I think lots of people wrote them off early on in the season. They had a poor start, and then you know they lose Rooney. There's talk of not having a centre forward in the club and where they're going to score the goals from. Not a word out of Sir Alex Ferguson, not a word out to come out and said anything to defend his team. He just said, you know, let's get on with it. And that's what they've done, and it's ominous now that they've got these players back. Ronaldo's back in the team, Rooney's getting fit again, Sahar's looking like he's going to be back in the team, and they're in the top at the top again. And I just think that's a testament to Sir Alex Ferguson's football club that he doesn't say anything in times of crisis, you know.
Will Everton feel they're very resilient at Everton Football Club? Will they feel as though they should have got something out of the game?
Yeah, because they defended really well and made it really difficult for Manchester United. They reduced Man United to shooting from 25, 30 yards. It was a great goal by Vidic, but up until then, you know, they'll be disappointed that they defended for great periods of the game. They had some chances themselves, but unfortunately, Man United, as they do, nicked the goal at the death.
Portsmouth 0, Liverpool 0. Post-match reaction now from Fratton Park.
I thought it was important that we got some resilience back, and we've been working hard and training to try and be tough to beat again, which we were today.
You've had a look at it again. I mean, it does seem to be a penalty. Do you agree with that, or are you doubtful about it?
In England, I don't know. In England, I don't know. I think he's taking the shirt, that is clear, but I think it's too light. Anyway, Pepe saved the penalty. It wasn't a big difference during the game. And okay, for me it's more important to analyse the game, and I think that we were doing a good job.
You've played the top 4, and you've taken a point off Manchester United, and you've taken a point off Liverpool today.
Yep, and we should have beat Chelsea. You know, Chelsea's beaten us at Stamford Bridge. At the top 4, the Arsenal's the team that's undone us completely. If you've done the top 4, you've got to go and do them again, I suppose, at some stage. But it's nice to put ourselves up against these kind of clubs and see where we are and where we're at. And you know, it's a tough place to come for any team here, and I'm sure Liverpool are pleased with the point.
Liverpool still haven't conceded a goal in open play. Well, they might have conceded a penalty. It was a penalty kick, first of all. But were you comfortable with the reaction of the Liverpool players towards the officials?
When the viewers watch Match of the Day tonight, there's no doubt in my mind that Kano had his shirt pulled. The referee got it absolutely right. But what took place after that, I thought, was very poor, because suddenly the Liverpool players turned to the linesman and started to intimidate him. I thought it was more severe than that, quite frankly. And I don't think that's fair, particularly in mind when it was the referees that apologised when they got it wrong. I think the referees are entitled for the players to apologise when they get it wrong. And on this occasion, they got it wrong.
Les, what I observed is the referee tried to stop one player moving towards the citizen. Another one to come forward. It's a little bit like ballroom dancing. Surely the way to do it is to say, don't move forward and get the cards out.
Well, what's happened is the linesman's given the decision. The referee's not seen it. The linesman's given the decision, and so the players have reacted as players do. They've gone towards the linesman. The referee's got in between the linesman and the players, and he's trying to rush them away. But they've, you know, as you do one, the next one creeps around your back. What he's got to do is say, right, I'll get my card out early. You're not allowed to do it. And stop it, nip it in the bud.
A crowd of over 40,000 and Sunderland players, past and present, paid their respects to Ian Porterfield before today's game with Reading. Ian Porterfield scored Sunderland's winning goal in the 1973 FA Cup final. He died earlier this week. Several others from that cup-winning side were at the Stadium of Light to pay their tribute to their friend and teammate.
We've stood there for a while and had a look at all the tributes that's been paid to Ian, and rightly so, because Ian was a superb player for Sunderland Football Club. You know, he spent something like a decade here, and you know, was a great ambassador for the club as well when he left this place. You know, and you know, the teams he managed both at home and abroad was indicative of the type of person he was and how much he loved football. You know.
And minutes applause at the Stadium of Light as Sunderland Football Club paid tribute to Ian Porterfield, who died this week. And let's hear from the Sunderland manager, Roy Keane.
Roy, congratulations, 3 points, which you needed.
Badly needed, yeah, but it was a good performance as well. I think that was the most important part for me over the last month or two. You know, we've not really been at the races, but we wanted a good performance today, and I think the players got their rewards.
Though you had a nervous last 5 minutes, didn't you?
Yeah, very much so. Again, the game should have been dead and buried. You know, we probably could have been 4 or 5 up. We created that many chances, but some good goalkeeping and good defending from their point of view. But then we gave away a sloppy goal, and it was a nervous last 5 or 10 minutes. But you know, we've got to learn that, and that will come from experience in terms of learning how to kill the game off.
Quite some home debut for Kenwyne Jones. I mean, at times there, they just couldn't deal with him at all, his pace and power.
He was different class again for his home debut. I thought he was fantastic. I thought he'd done very well a couple of weeks ago against United when he was on his own up front. But today, he got plenty of support around him, and as you said, I don't think they could handle him.
There were a couple of Reading shouts for penalty kicks, for handball inside the penalty area. Did you see them, have a view of that?
No, well, I'll try and probably repeat what a lot of other managers say. I didn't see it from where I was standing, so, you know, these decisions go for you and against you. We've had a bit of bad luck, I think, over the last month or two, so maybe the players have earned that today.
You'd gone 6 hours, if you include the League Cup, without actually scoring a goal, and yet I don't know if you've been creating chances like that in those games, but you had an absolute hatful of chances.
No,
today.
That's been another disappointing part of our game, I think. I don't think we've been getting many shots on target, and obviously the stats will show that. But today, you know, we had plenty of opportunity to score. But again, credit to Reading, they defended quite well, and their keeper made 1 or 2 very good saves. And again, we should have scored a lot more than the 2 goals we scored.
And Roy Keane added his tribute to Ian Porterfield. Yeah. I think it was very dignified and very emotional, and everyone at Sunderland Football Club should be congratulated for the way they've dealt with the sad news this week.
Yeah, very much so. And we all remember that final, and we all remember that save, but we all remember the winning goal and Ian Porterfield scoring it. Will be long in our memories. And the fact that he managed the clubs he did, and the fact that Montgomery said that those epitomised the way the man was, and much loved and much missed.
Important victory for Sunderland this afternoon, actually, sort of on the pitch, given they won, drew, then lost 3 on the bounce.
Yeah, lots of talk, and the biggest problem they had was scoring goals. You know, everyone was saying that they're lacking a little bit of quality. So they're at home. You know, the occasion, I think it brought it out of all the players as well. And Kenwyne Jones up front was a real handful today. I know everyone was questioning whether he could do it at this level, and he showed today that if given him the opportunities, he can do it at this level.
Late equaliser for Wigan this afternoon at home to Fulham. Here's their manager, Chris Hutchins. Wigan 9th in the table as things stand.
An interesting match, Chris, but I guess you wouldn't have been too happy with the performance of your side, certainly in the first half.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we started very, very slowly. We didn't retain the ball, didn't pass it. You know, it was a very disappointing first half performance. They were a lot sharper, and all credit to them. You know, we were fortunate to get something out of the game today.
Emil Heskey, you lost him in the first 10 minutes of the match. It didn't look too serious, and he tried to run it off. What's the prognosis?
Yeah, I think he landed and he just rolled his ankle, so he's gone to hospital for an X-ray just to see the extent of the injury. We'll have to wait and see when he comes back what it is.
And of course now the nation waits to see when he's coming back as well. You know, it's not just a Wigan thing, and I think that says a lot for the way that he's been playing for you and for his country.
Oh, without doubt. I mean, he put 2 immense performances in midweek, and he's done that for the first 5 games of the season. It's just unfortunate that he's come off after 5 minutes today, but hopefully, you know, it won't be too bad.
The home record remains intact. You've not lost, but in terms of performance, what more do you want from your players?
Well, we've got to retain the ball a lot better and pass it. You know, we didn't do that today, and you know, it was a bit frantic. We give it away too cheaply. You know, in the previous games we have passed the ball about, and that's what we're looking for. So to get something out of the game today, we're very fortunate.
But sometimes that can be quite a pleasing thing when you've not played particularly well.
Well, it is, yeah. You know, you obviously want to play well and win, but if you don't play well, it is so important that you get something out of the game. And like I say, fortunate today that we did do.
Thank you.
Other side of the coin for Emil Heskey. Terrific for England. Now he has to have a scan. Football can be a cruel business.
It is. You come back from England often on a high. Certainly these last couple of games. Suddenly, within sort of 7 or 8 minutes, he's limps off. He has a scan. But the Football Focus interview today said it all for me. When he was asked the question, "Is he a better player?" he said, "No, just wiser." Yeah. And I think that's what's happened to Emil. He's calm, he's cool, and he's playing better.
Yeah, Fulham can't win away over a year since they had an away win.
No, but they are a very effective side. They're not very attractive, but they're very effective. And all credit to Laurie Sanchez. He's quite a tough character. He knows how he wants to play, and that's the way he will play, doggedly.
Bolton have lost 5 out of 6. Difficult times for Sammy Lee, the manager.
Sammy, it never quite happened for you today. Have you got any thoughts as to why?
I've got many thoughts, but to be honest, I'll keep them in-house if you don't mind them. The lads are very, very disappointed in there because I think, alongside another defeat, I think it was quite possibly the worst we played. And so we're very disappointed in that. And as you said, we didn't really start. And that's the disappointing elements of today's game. In the past, I've been able to take positives out of it. I'm struggling today, I'll be honest with you. But as I said to you, we need to stick together, and we will do. They're a great bunch in there, and we make sure that we keep on working hard to get ourselves out of this predicament that we're in.
It's a start of a very busy period for you, and I guess you were hoping for a real positive, even if it wasn't the result you wanted to take into that batch of, I think it's another 6 games in just over 3 weeks, isn't it?
Yes, but we're fully aware of the programme that faced us, you know, and I'm not complaining about that. As I said to you before, the disappointing element about today, as well as the results, is the fact that I don't think we really started the game today, and that's why the lads are very, very disappointed in the dressing room. But as I've said to you before, you know, it's important now that we stick together. As you say, we've got this busy period come up, and the good thing about football is we have the next game to look forward to.
As always, all opinions on any footballing subject are welcome on 606 7:15 start time. You can phone, text or email the programme. Wigan have confirmed that Emil Heskey has been taken to hospital with a suspected broken metatarsal. We know how long they take to heal, so we're going to be having another metatarsal saga as whether Emil Heskey will be fit for the Euro 2008 qualifiers for Estonia.
We were talking. It's very rash to be talking about the next England game. Can he keep the same team? Because there's 4 or 5 Premiership games before that, and one of the problems of being an England manager is invariably your team will be changed by injury or some quirk of fate.
That's how this team came about this time round. The 2 team was because of injury and suspension. So he's got some work to do, Mr. McLaren, because it looks like Emil's going to miss out. You know, 4 weeks' time. I don't think he's going to be fit with a metatarsal. Although Rooney was out about that time, wasn't he?
It appears that sort of team didn't even last 90 minutes then, because Emil went off very early in the game today. It just shows how things can change so dramatically, Les.
It does, and you know, I think it was 8 minutes, 7, 8 minutes, and I don't think anyone touched it. He just went over on he rolled his foot over the ball and went over on it, and now it looks like a metatarsal, so it looks like he's out for a while.
It has to be a boot thing. It can't be anything else. We had broken foots and that when we were playing, but we didn't have these metatarsals are popping up left, right and centre, I think. It's got a bit of footwear.
Not unless it was diagnosed wrong when we were playing.
I don't know.
What sticks out as the result or results of the day for you, Garth?
Good question.
You're not going to say Arsenal, I would imagine.
I've got to say the way Arsenal came back was pretty ominous. I think Fabregas, Van Persie, Adebayor, they don't just look good players, they look strong mental players who have the capacity to perform on the big stage regularly. And I think if you can do that, you're certain to be in the top 4.
Was West Ham's second half performance impressive, Les?
Yeah, I was going to say West Ham. You know, they came out. Alan Kirbysley obviously had a lot to say at half time, but they came out and performed. Bayer started the run going, scored a great goal, and they went on from there. They looked very confident and was well worthy of their win today.
In search of their 10th Premier League title, Manchester United, they're picking up points, and the league table here says Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, West Ham, but Chelsea can get in there if they win this evening. So the top 4 taking
It's amazing after 6 games you don't normally get the top 4 or 5 teams at the top, do you? How it finishes. So it's ominous that the top boys are up there now this early. But Manchester United performance at Everton, really tough place to go and get a result. Didn't play brilliantly well, had a few chances, but come away 1-0 away. How many times do you see the top team winning 1-0 away from home?
You're a bit depressed about Martin Yell's situation, Garth, aren't you? And understandably.
Yeah, but we'll reflect over the weekend, we'll regroup and we'll move forward.
Later tonight, as the group stage of the Women's World Cup makes progress, it's highlights of today's games at 10 to 12 on BBC Two. And England's game with Argentina, which will decide if the team make it through to the knockout stage, will be live at 10 to 1 on Monday. Full details on football across the board and sport across the board are on the BBC Sport website. Quick reminder now that by pressing the red button, you can stay with us here in the Final Score studio. Our football service continues till 6 o'clock. All the results and the tables will cycle on the screen. And Les, Lee and Garth will continue discussion on all today's results. But this is where we say goodbye to BBC One viewers. More on today's football via the red button.